Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is my second video in the game improvement kind of series that I'm working on, trying to lower my actual handicap from a 9 down to a 5, closer to where it was before. I had set a goal to get to a 5, got as low as 5.6, and then the last 18 months it's just been going straight up. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on trying to find a fairway finder with the driver, something that I can get in play no matter what, because that's really where most of my strokes are being lost. I use Arccos to track my stats on the course, and the tee shot or driving category is the category that I'm losing the most strokes compared to a 5 handicap. I'm losing 3.3 strokes per round because of that. And it is basically all from accuracy. My home course has out of bounds on every hole, and I am probably OB, probably on average twice a round. So that's 4 extra strokes, penalty strokes per round that I'm just giving away. So I really need to develop a fairway finder, and that's what I'm gonna do today. I've got the Foresight GC3 set up, and I am using the FSX Pro software because I find it really easy to compare different things using tags, and especially looking at dispersion circles and all that. So that's why I'm using this today. I'm gonna start off and hit just kind of my stock shot with a driver. We'll probably see some of the issues there. And then I'm gonna try a number of things one at a time to try and see if I can find some consistency in the shot shape and try and get kind of the tightest dispersion possible with my driver, and hopefully I come away with something that I can use on the course and will help me out. Okay, so I'm in FSX Pro. I am going to create a tag here, and we are going to call this one stock. Create the tag. It's under general. So this will be my stock driver here. So in the simulator, I use these plastic cone tees. These are called burr tees. And this is the number 7 tee. It's the second highest. That's just what I've been using. This is actually pretty high. I thought that the top of the driver was about halfway up the ball. As I'm looking now, the top of the driver is maybe just clipping the bottom edge of the ball. So that might be a little bit high. We're definitely gonna play with tee height here. But this is what I normally do. I try to line up with the ball just on the inside of my left heel and try to play a baby draw just like every other club that I have. I try to play a draw, but with driver that's very tough to do, so most of the time it leaks right, and that kind of gives me a two-way miss that's pretty bad. Just going to be my standard driver swing. Okay, a big hook off the toe. So I'm going to hit at least 5 with all of these variations, including this stock shot. Not a great one to start, but it's kind of not surprising. That's actually a little surprising. That was also way out on the toe, which is why it drew back. That was a good one. Finally caught the middle of the face. And a shot like that is why I keep trying to hit a straight ball. Now the other thing with my kind of stock driver shot is my feet, my stance is pretty wide. My feet are definitely outside of my shoulders, so we're going to play with that as well. Now I see a lot of that, a lot of big pushes to the right. That was not a bad shot, but the only reason it didn't fade more was because that was also way out on the toe. You can see the horizontal impact plus 21 millimeters, pretty far out on the toe, so that kept that one alive. This will basically be the last one here, my just standard drive, stock drive. I kind of drop kicked that one a little bit, but a big old hook there. Okay, let's take a look at what that looks like. So there we go. Kind of a two-way miss. I'm surprised I didn't have any more fades there. Probably my most common miss is like a push fade, which is a big problem. But I got a lot of toe balls there, came out there on the left. Ideally, I'm wanting to stay within like a 60-yard wide cone, and we're basically 40 plus 20. We're just about there, but it's not centered. We might come back to that. That's really just our stock data there. Angle of attack on average up 8.7, club path 0.5, interesting. Pretty neutral, face to path, pretty neutral. Launch angle 16 degrees. All right, let's go to the next thing that I'm gonna try. It's gonna be a driver, but we're gonna change the tag. We're gonna do a 3/4 backswing. All right, so in this case, I'm trying to do basically everything the same, but I'm gonna do a little bit of a shorter backswing. In the past, a lot of bad things just happen when I get just past that kind of 3/4 swing. So sometimes shortening it up makes good things happen. Well, I like that. Liked that a lot. Lost that one a little bit to the right. Hit that one a little bit towards the toe, not terrible, but that's kind of what kept it from bleeding more right. A little bit low on the face. I thought it was on the heel, but the quad is telling me no, just +2. Well, we're definitely seeing all the fades there with a little bit of a shorter backswing. Let's take a look. Get one at a time, so definitely a lot smaller circle. Everything pretty much fading, except for that very first shot, which was a baby draw. I like that a lot. You compare it to the driver, you can see how much wider that is with the big two-way miss. And in this case, only one, I think, had any draw spin. So look, angle of attack, up 7, club path, a little bit more negative, face to path, a little more open. All right, the next thing I'm gonna try is messing with tee height. Right before this, I watched a bunch of YouTube videos on how different pros hit their fairway finder, and almost all of them tee it down way low. So we're gonna try that out. We'll just call it low tee. All right, so I switched from my normal number 7 tee to a number 4. The top of the golf ball just peaks over the top of the driver. It's gonna feel super low to me, but I didn't wanna just step it down a little bit. I kinda wanted to go to more of an extreme to see what the effect it has. I don't think I've ever teed up a driver this low, but the idea is that it's supposed to kind of create a little bit more of a downward angle of attack, which is gonna maybe produce a little trap fade. So I would expect all these to cut. We're gonna find out. We saw that my angle of attack was, I think, 8 or 9 degrees up normally. So let's see what happens here. I am gonna move the ball just a little bit more back in my stance so that I don't completely miss it. Oh, wow. Wow. Okay, I hit that farther than I expected. Hit it in the center of the face, and I'm not sure if that ball flight was much lower or not, but kind of felt like a different ball flight. Felt lower. Very interesting. I was hoping I made good contact. That was nice. Okay, I think a little more fade than I wanted, but again, middle of the face, very interesting. We see the attack angle on that was down to 4 degrees up instead of 8 or 9. Okay, drop kicked that one a little bit, hit behind it, and hit it way out on the toe. Not bad there. Obviously a push to the right, but it didn't really fade too much. Definitely playable. Pretty similar. Let's check this out. Here we go. We look like at most 30 yards right of center. And then we had that one that I kind of drop kicked off the ground, closed the face, and about 25-ish yards left of center. So that one outlier. Let's look at everything together. Okay, so the blue is the low tee, the green is the 3/4 swing, and the red is my standard drive. It looks very similar to the 3/4 swing, except that one outlier, and so maybe that is something I want to try again. What is interesting, I'm going to go to, can we go to the side? You can see the purple line is lower than all the others for the most part. You can see green's a little bit lower, but obviously there's something to that. It's been super windy here recently, and I hit the ball, I think would be considered high. You can see roughly in the, I guess, 40 yards in the air at the apex. Hitting straight into the wind, I played the other day, I was just unplayable. I mean, unplayable. I was playing with a bunch of older guys that don't hit it very high or far, and they could just hit it right under the wind, didn't affect them. But for me, it was just going up and left or right. So hitting the ball lower would definitely help for a fairway finder for me. And let's look at this. Angle of attack, almost half of what it was before, 4 degrees up. Club path pretty neutral, faced path, one open. Launch angle 13 degrees. That was definitely lower than our 16, almost 17 stock shot. Okay, let's keep moving. Let's call this ball position. We're gonna call it ball back. Now, so with that lower tee, I did move the ball back, maybe like a club head inside of my left heel, where normally the ball is like right on my left heel, so just a little bit. Now let's try my normal tee, the number 7 tee, but moving this ball back and see what happens. Feels so funny. And a high push fade. Now we can see that the angle of attack there is 6 degrees. That's still lower than what my stock one was. So just moving it back helps a little bit. The other thing I should have mentioned is that in all of these cases, I am just aiming straight. But in real life, if I know that this fairway finder, whatever it is going to produce a little fade, I'll aim left. Interesting. I kind of hit that a little bit towards the heel, but it still drew. That was 3 with my normal tee, but to be honest, that feels awkward. I kind of wanted to keep them separate, but I'm just going to step it down 1 lower. My normal tee is number 7, this is number 6. Let's see if that feels a little bit better. I don't think you would tee it up that high under any circumstance with the ball farther back. This is probably the tee that I should have been using anyways. Looks about half the ball is coming out above the top of the club head. So this is probably standard tee height, really. Ooh. Yep, definitely helped. All right, last one here. So far, I don't think this is a winner. And a big push fade. And the reason I just don't like the push fade is because you have to aim so far left because it's gonna start right and turn right. It just doesn't work. If it's gonna fade, it kind of needs to start straighter. There we go, let's take a look. Wow, the biggest dispersion circle, that yellow one of all of them. I don't think that's gonna be the key for us. All right, let's try another one. Let's try to narrow the stance. So I mentioned at the beginning that my feet are outside of my shoulders here with the driver. It feels a little bit wide. And so narrowing the stance, I'm gonna try and do it kind of in line with my shoulders. And that should produce a little bit of a steeper angle of attack, which should produce kind of a squeeze cut. I'm gonna stick with the number 6 tee and let's give this a shot. Not bad. Angle of attack up 5 degrees. Okay, well that one went dead straight. It felt a little funny. Everything looked good. It felt like I kind of came over a little bit and did something funny. I don't know exactly what that was, but hey, it's something. That felt good. That one was center of the face, tiny little fade, basically straight. Feels very funny over the ball, and it's hard to not step out wider. Ah. Out on the toe with the face open. Big push fade. That gets me in a lot of trouble in real life, so. Let's check this one out with the narrow stance. Okay, we got a lot going on up there, so let me turn everything else off. So there was our narrow stance. The good news is nothing hooked. Everything either went straight or faded. The bad news is we had a couple out here that were super, push fades. Not good. That's out of bounds territory for sure. How does that compare? Well, here's our stock. A little bit, kind of a similar dispersion, but the problem with the stock was that it was a two-way miss. This at least looks like a one-way miss, so that's something. 3/4 swing, much tighter, similar. The low tee. We had that one drop kick to the left, ball back, not great, and there's the narrow stance. All right, so at this point, we've looked at the data. I think I know what I want to try, and that's kind of combining some of these things, the low tee, the 3/4 backswing, which felt great, and maybe a narrow stance, but maybe not. We'll just experiment here with this last set. What will we call this? We'll call it 3/4 plus low tee. All right, let's see what happens. Back to the number 4 tee here. Not great. It's kind of what I would expect from this. My swing may not look 3/4, but it feels maybe 3/4. It's just stopping a little bit early, more of a feel than probably real. That was okay. Not great. Definitely in play. Only carried 232 yards. That's what kills me. This doesn't seem like a winner. Not sure why. It's a little better. I don't like combining them. So this is just the low tee. Just experimenting now. And still a full swing. Actually a little draw that's interesting. Hit a little towards the toe. Let's go to a normal size tee and the 3/4 backswing. That's not too good. Face is getting a little bit too open. I mean, I guess you could say the only good thing is that it's fading. Should be more consistent. There we go, just kept the face a little bit more closed on the way back. Not bad. Let's look at this session real quick. Check out the dispersion circles. Okay, so it's been a few days since I did this little fairway finder activity, and I wanted to share with you guys kind of the payoff. So immediately after doing this fairway finder, I played golf the next day, and it was similar conditions to the previous 3 weeks. And if I didn't say it already, the previous 2 weeks were absolutely terrible. Conditions were not good. There was like 17 to 20 mile an hour winds. I fired a 94 1 week, followed by a 96 the next week. Just for perspective, I mean, I might have one round a year that's that high or just over 90 or something like that. I mean, it's kind of as bad as it gets. 2 weeks in a row was really, really rough. And that's what spurred this whole thing on. So did my fairway finder activity. I took that 3/4 backswing to the course. I also got a lot more comfortable teeing it down much, much lower than I was previously comfortable with. Took that to the course, and I gotta tell you, I played fantastic. Similar conditions, about like 16, 17 mile an hour winds. My driving was incredible. I'll tell you now, I ended up with an 81 for the day. Obviously, we used Arcos like we have been, and we go into the stats for this round. You can see 2.1 strokes gained in driving. The previous ones, I'll open that up. Let's just go out of that. Let's go to this 96. My driving stats, I was losing 10 strokes in that round just driving compared to a 5 handicap, which 5 handicap is my goal. Going to, in this round, the 81, I actually gained 2 strokes driving against a 5 handicap. Unbelievable. I haven't had strokes gained driving in as long as I can remember. It's been a very long time. And so what like an immediate payoff to see, hey, I am giving away 10 strokes to I actually gained 2 strokes after doing this like fairway finder practice. I was ecstatic halfway through the round that I just felt confident on the tee, hitting into direct headwind, teeing it down low, and just kind of knowing where it was gonna go. I was a little bit in shock, to be honest with you. And then for the rest of the round, my approach, 0.6 strokes gained. That was also kind of my second biggest category that I was losing strokes in. So I was very, very pleased to see that. You know, I was trying to do a lot more kind of 3/4 swings, taking more club. To be honest with you, there's more work to be done there. I actually felt more comfortable hitting driver into the wind than I was with my irons, because my irons, I just hit them too high and they balloon up into the wind and they can just go anywhere. And even kind of with no wind, I kind of am starting to see that I'm hitting it so high that the dispersion is just too big. So I kind of might need to work on that. Short game and putting, not so great. As you can see, those two aren't as big of a concern typically as the first two. So, you know, a little bit of a tough short game day, but finished out with 81, where I would have taken 81 at the beginning of the day before teeing off every single time. And so I ended extremely happy and super, super just pumped to see such an immediate payoff from doing this little exercise in the sim. It kind of made me feel like, what have I been doing? I'm just wasting time in the sim when I could be doing stuff like this. So super excited to see positive results. With that, I'm gonna continue to work on that, kind of hone in this fairway finder, because I need to use it a lot. And so I wanna make sure I really have it down and consistent. One good round is great, but there's more work to be done. And like I mentioned, got to work on those approach shots inside of 150 yards. We'll have to see what I can do about bringing that ball flight a little bit lower, getting a little bit more accurate. So just wanted to share that with you guys. I hope you found this video entertaining, helpful, maybe inspiring to try and do it yourself if this is an issue that you have. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks, guys.